Welcome to another pandemically erotic episode of A Crept from the 80s, but friends.
Vaccinatedly.
Yeah,
erotic.
We are vaccinated. We are back, and hopefully you too are vaccinated, and the world is getting vaccinated, and we're slowly but surely going back to a time where things weren't pandemically erotic. They were just erotic. So hopefully we'll get there. We are vaccinated. We're feeling fresh.
miss eroticism.
We're feeling good, and today's episode of A Crept from the 80s is it's 80s, man. We're going full bore. Now, we have done, I'm not sure why in the time of A Crept from the 80s why we haven't done, say, 1980, 1981, 1982, 1983.
You have a few with
we did 84.
Yes.
You and I did 85.
Yep.
And now we're going to do 1986.
We did have some from Gourmet Scum.
Oh, did we?
We did. I don't know where they are. Maybe on a hard drive somewhere. But I remember you and I doing some of the ADs.
Okay.
But yeah, the channel doesn't have a lot.
All right, well, at some point we'll go back and we'll do 80, 81, 82, 83.
Yes.
And then we'll continue. So today's is 1986, and everything we're going to be talking about is 35 years old. Amazing.
It's insane.
And we're older than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he's boys becoming men, men becoming wolves. He is turning 40 this year.
Yeah.
I am turning 44, which means I'm 4 years closer to death than Casey.
Yeah.
So you got that going for you.
That's
Casey.
all I have going for me is that I'll die after you.
So, you take the bright spots when you can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, 86 has got a lot of them.
86 does have a lot of them, and it's funny, I've had these conversations with other like-minded individuals, like Bobby Hackman. I'm sure a couple other people, but as far as
what's the best year?
What are the best years in the 80s?
Yeah.
And most people, including myself, would cite 84 and 85 as a double dose of power.
1,000%.
Those 2 years are yam-packed with just classic after classic after classic. But 86 is... I wouldn't kick 86 out of bed.
There's some films and TV shows and experiences that are forever feeling the reverberations to this day. So
that's right.
Yes.
That's right. 1986. So I was 9 years old. And, living my best life.
You probably were.
Definitely. As a 9-year-old in Wellsville, New York.
Yeah.
My God. Renting everything, seeing. I was getting so many ladies. The sky was the limit back then.
Yeah.
I was still making backyard dumb Freddy Jason movies. Actually, this was significant because 1986 was the first time I had seen a Friday the 13th film in theaters.
Perfect age for a 9-year-old to see.
Well, it didn't matter.
No,
I was seeing some crazy shit back then in theaters. I saw a lot of movies that we will talk about in theaters.
Yeah.
And this be one of them. But Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, was the first Friday film I saw in theaters.
Yeah.
That I didn't have to rent.
Who took you
to it?
Or are we going to talk about it?
Come on, it was my
your
mom.
Uncle or
yeah, it was those people. It was that, the families.
That crew.
But another thing that I can remember about 9 years old was I had taken up a paper route.
Oh.
At 9 years old.
Don't see you doing that.
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. I didn't do it long. And actually, I did it again when I was like 12.
Okay.
So 9 years old, I did it. Yeah, I probably did it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know? And I spent all that money on comic books and pizza and shit, and renting videos.
So what you would normally do to this day.
Yeah. Saving wasn't even an option. Like today. So... And I remember... and I've shown you pictures. But... So we had a couple things going on in Wellsville throughout the years. Part of Wellsville's history. One of them is the Great Wellsville Balloon Rally.
Which is actually
still
world-renowned.
One of them is the Wellsville Inner Tube Regatta.
I am not familiar with the Inner Tube Regatta.
Yeah, so it was like they would go down the Genesee.
Go
through our parks and everything, and people would build their own inner tube boats.
I don't even remember.
And try to win. Try to
cool.
beat everybody.
Yeah.
We haven't done that in a long time, but the Wellsville Balloon Rally still happens.
Yep.
But something else we did, which again, have not done in Wellsville in a very long time, but we did it. Boy, when I was growing up, we did it. Was the annual Gabby Hayes Days.
You have talked many times about this.
So Gabby Hayes was a actor in like fucking a long time ago. And he's from Wellsville, and he was like Wellsville's like big celebrity other than Bill Pullman.
Yeah.
So we would have Gabby Hayes Days, and what Gabby Hayes Days essentially was some sort of parade and celebration on a weekend, and it would be like an outside vendor market.
Okay.
With a parade and like outdoor food. You know, people would set up tables and sell crafts and shit like that.
Would you watch this man's movies?
Maybe people did. But so it was. You also got to dress up, and you got to dress up in like old Western clothes and like old timey clothes and things of that nature. So, I partnered with the Wellsville Daily Reporter to be the old-timey paperboy at this event. And they made specific special papers for that day, for the event.
That's funny.
And we'd sell them for like 25 cents, 50 cents, or whatever it was. So I would go around with my wagon filled with the
papers here.
The papers, and I had my little sack of coins, and I was dressed to the nines with all that old-timey, you know, extra,
yeah, that's
read
funny.
all about it, you know, that type of thing, and
so
because I was the paper boy, I was the Gabby Hayes Day boy who went around and did that.
I could see that how it shaped your youth.
I have pictures of that. There was an article in the paper that I have the actual cutout article.
Did your aunt write it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, my aunt worked at the Daily Reporter I mean, she still works for, I think she works for the Olean Times Herald or something like that now. But, yeah, she was a reporter. So anything that had to do with me growing up in Wellsville where I was doing something, there was an article. Like making movies, conventions, anything like that, she would write an article about it. So that was like a significant thing that I remember. Yeah. 9-year-old Chris Sieber, you know? As far as growing up in Wellsville in my youth in the 80s. So 1986, 9 years old. Nothing, yeah. I mean, what were you?
I'm 5.
You were 5? Okay.
I mean, I can't remember a thing. I might remember some things as we go through, like being like, oh yeah, I watched this thing at that time, but off the top of my head, at 5 years old, I couldn't tell you where I was in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I don't even know where we lived, because we could have lived in Friendship. We could have lived in Virginia. I could have lived in Alfred. So, yeah, I can't even remember. So you jog my memory as we go down this path.
So when we do these year-themed episodes, we try to talk about the films, the TV, the toys, the video games, the food, cartoons that we loved from that particular year.
Yeah.
Now, Casey, he's 5 years old, so some things he definitely didn't see when he was 5 years old that may be from the year. Everything on this list I saw in the 80s. If not 86, then 87 or 88, around that time.
Right.
But definitely the television shows, the cartoons, the toys, all that stuff. So it was happening fresh now, and I was living it as a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
And seeing things that I definitely should not have been seeing. But thanks to my mother and uncles being kids themselves, basically, teenagers, well, I guess they're in their 20s now at that point, but early 20s. I was seeing a lot of shit.
You know what, kid? You gotta learn.
Basically, yeah. I saw some weird shit. I'll say this, but we will probably do its own special. And again, everything on this list is 35 years old now. But Aliens, as far as movies are concerned, again, we're going to talk about it. Very significant. Yeah. We both love the franchise. And I would say very important to both of us.
I would absolutely say that Aliens is one of the most significant movies in my life. For sure. 100%.
Now, Aliens, I didn't see in 1986.
Yeah.
I saw in 1987 on VHS, and I remember my mom was throwing a party, and she rented... Now, I had seen Gremlins, but she rented Gremlins and Aliens, which was a new release on VHS.
These are similar.
And I thought, one, I was scared, but I thought it was incredible.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never seen anything like this at this time, And I had seen Star Wars. I had seen all these movies.
Right.
Dark Crystal, everything. But this was different. This was like action scares, like creatures that I had never seen before.
Yeah.
Crazy. So I remember it and just being, I didn't care what the hell was happening at this party. My mind was on this screen watching the Alien Queen.
Yeah.
Like, I was just this is the coolest thing ever. So, until another movie that like blew my socks off. Which happened, again, didn't get to see it in theater because of a very stupid reason, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't see this movie in a theater. I first rented it on VHS. Could have been 88, 87, 88, one of those two. April Fool's Day came out in 1986. I love this movie. I think it's so good. There's lots of horror fans out there who hate the movie.
Really?
Yeah, because of... I'm not going to say anything.
I've never seen this movie.
Oh, shit. Well, yeah, man. I invited you to our get-together in May. You should really come.
I saw the thing. I had to look at the time.
I am sure, they picked... The ladies picked April Fool's Day as one of the movies to show.
Okay.
It's great, and I don't want to give it away. But because it's the things that happen in the movie, people were like, bleh, bleh.
I hate when they do that.
But I love it. And if you know what I'm talking about, then you know.
Okay.
And you either accept it or you don't. But it's fantastic. And I love the movie. And it's got a great cast. Including a freshly out of Back to the Future
Leo Thompson?
Biff.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. What the fuck is his name? Tom Gingerbread Head.
Yep.
And he's in it, and he's great in it.
Yes. Sweet.
So
I'll watch it sometime.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
This is a classic. Again, I didn't see it in theaters. I rented it as soon as it came out. Big Trouble in Little China. Loved it.
Did this blow your mind?
I just thought it was fantastic.
Okay.
It was everything an 80s kid should love. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I agree. This movie has gotten better with age for me, because I remember when I first saw it, I was like, this is a lot. Like, this is a lot of things. You know, you think it's gonna go one way and then, you know, cheapang another. But yeah, I love this movie, and I love it more now as an adult than, like, Escape from New York I've loved since day one. This one I took some time to.
So as a
love.
kid, so I see this probably 10 years old.
Yeah.
When it was first hitting VHS, this was my favorite John Carpenter movie at the time as a kid, as a.
That makes sense though. Like
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
I just it was like it was no different to me than like The Goonies or something like that. You know what I mean? It was an action adventure.
Yeah.
It was like watching Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah.
It was, it was like Kung Fu and Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Like meshed, and and magic and creatures and everything. I was just like, wow, this is cool. And so to this day, it is one of my favorite films.
Banging theme song.
The whole trouble. John Carpenter. John Carpenter is my favorite like horror director ever. So I mean, this is right up there.
Yeah.
And I watch Big Trouble every single year. Now this one, I don't know if you've seen this movie, and this isn't like a big. It's not your typical like on somebody's classic 80s list.
Okay.
I first saw this movie on HBO. And again, probably a year later or something, as soon as it hit HBO or something like that. Cable.
Yeah.
But it's called The Boy Who Could Fly.
No.
Have you ever seen this movie?
No.
It was an HBO staple, and I watched it a lot. I really enjoyed it. It's a very weird movie.
Sounds great.
Well, it's got Mindy Cohn, who
Okay.
played Natalie from Facts of Life.
Okay.
And it's got a very young, well, my age at the time, Fred Savage.
Okay. What's
Fred
it
Savage
about?
in it, and he's great in it. He's like a real sassy, foul-mouthed, like, he's always riding his big wheel and handing out, annoyances left and right and giving people guff and shit like that. And it stars Jay Underwood, who I love in The Invisible Kid, which we will talk about at some point in 1989, 1988. But Jay Underwood, so he's basically, I guess, maybe autistic or something. There is something wrong with him, and he keeps to himself.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie,
It's a drama.
It is a drama, but it's a
comedy.
Yeah, it's a dramedy. There's some funny bits in it, but it's also a very chill teen drama. But you don't know if it's real or fake. But ultimately, the kid flies.
Okay.
And I don't know. You'd have to see it. I would love to get your take on it as somebody who had never seen it.
Never.
And now a 40-year-old watching The Boy Who Could Fly.
And I do like
it's,
Fred Savage.
It's interesting.
You just ruined it for me, though.
Huh?
He flies.
No, you know.
No,
I would be interested to hear what you think.
Do you have this movie?
I don't have it.
Oh, okay.
But it is on Blu-ray.
Okay.
But I do want to get it because I like the movie.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it in a long time, but I do like it. And it's a 1986 joint. And,
I love good joints.
So, again, did not see this in theaters. This definitely was a rental. And this might have been 88, so I might have been 11 or so when I rented this movie. But it's called Chopping Mall.
Yeah. Never seen it either.
I think you'd like it.
From what I know of this movie, I probably would like it.
I think you would like it. It's super cheesy.
Yeah.
It's super silly. Jim Wynorski did it. It doesn't have anything to do with any chopping whatsoever. The cover is amazing.
It is a good cover.
And the cover has nothing to do with what's happening in the movie. It does take place in a mall.
Okay.
But because you haven't seen it, I don't really want to give it away.
It is a horror movie.
It is a horror movie.
So it's shot on video?
No. No. It's not shot on video.
Okay.
It's low budget.
Yeah.
Barbara Crampton is in it. It's got actually a really decent cast.
Yeah.
It's really fun. I mean, it is a quintessential cheesy 80s horror movie.
I mean, I do like
there's some great gags, some great... again, I don't want to give too much away, but it recently came out through Vestron Video Blu-ray, like a special edition, collector's edition Blu-ray, and it's fantastic. And since I've got that Blu-ray, I've probably watched Chopping Mall like 7 times since I got that Blu-ray. I mean, it's
that good.
Well, I've seen it before.
No, I know,
but it's one of those movies that I can
times.
just put in and chuckle. You know, it's a real like just a quintessential 80s horror cheese fest.
Okay.
So I really enjoy it.
Is it a slasher?
Chopping Mall. I don't even want to say.
All right, never mind. Okay, I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
I will. And if I gave its alternative title away, you might...
Don't say anything.
Yeah, I won't. This you will definitely not agree with. And again, I think the first time I saw this was, again, 1987, not 1986. And I saw it on HBO. And this is Critters.
Crept.
I love Critters.
I know you do.
Critters, the franchise, is very near and dear to my heart. Again, loved it since I was a kid. I think Critters is fantastic. 1 and 2, really. I mean...
So by franchise, you mean 2 movies?
Well...
Out of 6.
Listen, 3 and 4... I mean, they're bad, but they're still watchable, and they still can give you some sort of laughable entertainment. But 1 and 2, I feel, are genuinely great films. 2 more so than 1. But I really do love it. I think they're great.
I remember we went
to the 35th. I mean,
the
35
millimeter
presentation. Yes.
And I was not impressed.
No, you weren't
at all. So I'm not jumping to see Critters 2, even though that's Mick Garris, right?
Yeah.
Then
I think you'd probably like Critters 2 more.
I probably would. I tend to like Mick Garris's everything for the most part. So
Critters 2 really ups the silliness.
Like silliness and
the critters look even better in 2 than they do in 1.
I would give it a chance. I guess I'd say that.
They're fun.
Yeah. I won't watch any of the other ones.
Well, 3, I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio, it's his first big screen appearance.
Great. You know how much I'm a huge Leonardo DiCaprio fan.
And he's fighting those critters.
I'm alright.
So Critters, yeah. Great movie.
I know you like it.
Great soundtrack. Power of the night. Streets are calling. Johnny Steele. Here's another one that I didn't see in theaters.
I mean, here's the thing. It's like they didn't come out for another year or 2 on VHS. So
yeah.
Maybe HBO would get them before that.
Yeah, the time difference was way different back then from theatrical to
30
home
to 45
video.
to 90 days it is now.
But some of these I did see in theater.
Yeah.
But this is another one that I did not. Deadly Friend. This was definitely a VHS release. And I have to say that I think that... So I would rent this movie a lot because it was one of those movies that I wasn't sure if I liked when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because there's there's some wonky shit going on in that movie. But as I got older, I appreciate it for the wonky shit that's happening in the movie. So Deadly Friend is a Wes Craven movie.
Yeah.
It has Christy Swanson. Have you seen Deadly Friend?
No.
Okay.
What is the premise though?
Because it sounds really a robot.
Okay.
A kid builds a best friend. Well, not really. Oh, I don't want to give it away. Because she doesn't really build her. Well,
so it's Christy Swanson.
It is Christy Swanson.
So it's like a horror
she
version
dies.
of weird science or something.
While she dies.
It's like Frankenstein.
It's interesting.
It's good though.
Well, it isn't good, but as an adult,
this is 86.
Yeah, it's
so
good cheese. So I saw this probably 87, 88.
Right.
It's good cheese.
I do like me some Parmesan with my movie.
It definitely is cheesy.
Okay.
So I appreciate it more now than I did as a kid, but I definitely rented it a lot because I was just like so convinced to go either way with it. I could like it, I could not like it.
You just liked Christy Boner.
I mean, not then.
No,
you know,
I guess
she's
you're
little
9.
Christy Swanson.
Yeah, okay.
She didn't have.
She isn't the woman she is today.
She wasn't bona fide yet.
Yeah.
She was not Buffy yet. You know?
Yeah.
This is 86, Christy Swanson, you know. She's showing up in Ferris Bueller. Yeah. Which is also on my list.
Is that 86?
86. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Again, I rented it. Probably 87. John Hughes. Already a huge fan.
A Hughes fan?
A huge Hughes fan,
yeah.
For sure. Even at that age, loved 16 Candles, Weird Science, Breakfast Club. Loved them. They were part of my definite adolescence and burgeoning awakening sexual sievage. So I had to see Ferris, and it was great. Loved it. And, you know, it's a classic. Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a classic.
Ferris Bueller's is my favorite John Hughes movie. 16 Candles.
And I couldn't argue, you know?
Yeah.
Because if somebody said Breakfast Club was their favorite John Hughes
movie,
I can't argue with it. Because those consistent movies back to back to back that he did, from 16 Candles to Ferris.
Yeah.
From, 84 to fucking 86.
Yeah.
Solid. They're all solid. They're all great. But 16 Candles is my favorite. Weird Science has always been my second favorite. Ferris is my third favorite. And then Breakfast Club is my fourth.
Yeah, I mean, I like all of them. I even like Pretty in Pink. I mean, we could do a whole John Hughes thing. But Ferris he's so mischievous. And nothing can go wrong for this kid. You know what I mean? And I just like...
He can't lose.
He can't, exactly. And I think I like that. That it's just like... There isn't really a arc necessarily for Ferris. It's like he is this cool-ass dude.
And we all wanted to be him.
Yeah. So it's just... That's it. I really... And I love the soundtrack so much. I still listen to that soundtrack to this day. Because it's great. It's great hits. So...
It's a great movie.
So good.
To this day. 35 years. Can you believe it?
No, I'm sure Matthew Broderick.
Where's that 4K?
Well, it'd be great.
Here's another one, 1986. I can't remember if I saw this in the theater, but it seems like something I would have seen in the theater, but it might have been a VHS or a HBO type of thing. And it is The Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah.
This goes right up there with the fantasy
Spores.
action stuff that was coming out in the 80s. It was very prevalent. Kids being in out of this world predicaments.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved all this stuff. And this was a Disney movie.
Yep.
And it's crazy.
Grandpa
it's really
and Grandma
weird.
had this movie.
It's like drama action adventure.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, there's some subject matter that's going on in it that's a little weird, little adult, but there's adventure and
Whimsy.
yeah, definitely. The effects were great. The ship itself is voiced by Paul Rubens.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen it, so probably now I would know that.
Compliance. Yeah, so it's one of those movies that I still love to this day. And
who's that kid? Is it Elliot or who's the kid?
No, that's not. It did look. His name was Joey Kramer.
Yeah, he's nobody.
Well, they just did a documentary about him.
Really?
And that film that was free on Amazon Prime for a while, and I watched the documentary recently.
About Flight of the Navigator?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And him and what happened to his life after that movie, and it was kind of sad. But he's in a good place right now, and he's doing conventions, and he's really loving the resurgence of love for the film.
Sick of these sad-ass documentaries everyone's making lately.
Yeah, and you should check it out. But the movie is great. And I believe Second Sight put out a extras packed Blu-ray for Flight of the Navigator. It does not. Oh yeah, it does have a domestic release, but it's not action packed. It's not extras packed like the Second Sight.
Oh my goodness!
How long has it been
since we got on the Navigator?
Yes. Oh my gosh, what a flight.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Flight of the Navigator, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so another movie that, another one I did not see in the theater. 1986, celebrating 35 years, The Fly.
Oh.
David Cronenberg's remake of The Fly, and I actually like the original Fly.
Yeah.
With Vincent Price.
Mm-hmm.
But The Fly, this I saw on VHS. I probably rented it. I would think a couple years after it
probably
came out.
Yeah.
And it, I love it. I think
It's a good body horror movie.
Oh my goodness!
Say.
David Cronenberg is the king of that shit, and The Fly.
Body
is,
horror.
Yeah.
No, I know.
He is, man.
Well, it's funny.
His movies are horribly bodacious.
Yeah.
But Jeff Goldblum's performance is amazing.
Yep.
Gina Davis looking all Gina Davis-y.
She's at her most Davis.
Fresh-faced Gina Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie's great. Great special effects. Gore. Sliminess.
Gooey.
Putrefaction.
Yeah. It's a gooey movie.
Acid puke. Yeah, it's just great.
I want to watch that now.
It's great.
I'm out
Such
of
a
here.
great movie. Now, this one we talked about. Yes, this one I did see in the theater. Talked about it in the beginning of the episode. Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. My first Friday in the cinema.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, it is not my favorite of the Friday films, but you would think it would be because, one, it was my first in theaters, and two, it has comedy elements. It's the one where they really, they knew what they were doing. Yeah. As far as, okay, this is the 6th in the series, we got to change it up. Let's poke fun at the genre, and they did.
Right. Was it your favorite at that time?
Probably it was.
I would imagine.
Probably it was, and then I saw Part 7 in the theaters, and then 7 became my favorite.
Of course.
As I got older,
7 is not that.
4 is my favorite. The final chapter is hands down my favorite Friday the 13th film. And I would say that Part 6 is my second. It's just got a lot of great material in it. Tom McLaughlin made it like a gothic comedy horror. And, I mean, the opening alone is fantastic.
The opening's
Jason,
very cool.
They bring him back Frankenstein style with a lightning bolt.
Hey man!
And we begin the reign of zombie Jason.
Yep.
So it's 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 good, man. It's freaking good. And
I remember seeing that, like, because I can distinctly remember, is it part 6, where he's under the boat and, like, coming up towards the propeller in the boat. That's 6, right?
yes.
Yeah, I remember that when I was... Yeah, when I was a kid. Because we had HBO at one of the houses.
Yeah.
I remember this, and I would stumble upon things like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, and not... Definitely, you know, if my mom would have found out, it would have been curtains for me. But luckily, she wasn't home too much growing up. I saw some shit.
Man, did you see some shit?
I did.
You saw some shit that would make your shit turn white.
It probably did.
Ooh, this one I definitely, this was not theatrical. This I rented for sure. Probably a couple years again later. Probably once I was like 10, 11 years old. And this was called From Beyond. It's a Stuart Gordon film. You know, much like the taboo-ness of renting Reanimator back then, this was right up there as well. From Beyond. Stuart Gordon, Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton.
Mm-hmm.
The movie is fantastic. I love it. But it's psychosexual. It's creepy and weird and gross.
Stuart Gordon is a follower of Cthulhu, right?
Oh my gosh. He loves,
he loves Lovecraft. He loves
yes.
his Lovecraft.
Oh, yes. And this is...
So he's
right
he's
up
an
there.
acolyte.
For sure. All of them are, I believe.
Probably.
You know, that trio, really. You know? I mean, they did so much with that material.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, which is so bizarre, my wife loves From Beyond as well.
She always throws me for a curveball.
Yeah, it's so weird. It is so weird.
You think she likes certain things and she doesn't, and then, okay, sure, she likes From Beyond.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay.
It is interesting. But it's a great
movie.
Here's another one. Did not see in the theater, but not only was it a rental, a constant rental for me, but it was also on HBO all the time. And that is The Golden Child.
Oh, Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
I think 80s Eddie Murphy is just
The best.
the best. And he had a string back to back to back that were just like out of the park for me. And Golden Child is one of those. 1986. You're taking the comedy gold of Eddie Murphy and putting it in like an action fantasy adventure movie.
Yeah.
A kid like me, that was everything, you know? That was like right up there with Big Trouble in Little China. It was just so like, what is happening?
Yeah.
This world is great.
Well, I remember
the
watching
80s,
that
so
one.
amazing. Golden Child is
Yeah.
so funny. The great Charles Dance as the villain in the film. Creatures, you know, snake
Small
women.
Asian boys. Yeah.
Who was a girl. The
Oh.
Golden Child was actually played by a girl. Top tier funny Eddie Murphy shit in that movie. I can watch it all the time. And Paramount recently put out a 2K or 4K scan of the movie on Blu-ray.
Okay.
Did like a special edition of the movie, and I gotta grab it. It's pretty cheap on Amazon. I don't know why I didn't grab it yet, but
You got a birthday coming up.
I do, and it's I love it. So Golden Child is up there.
That's a good one.
Here we go. Another one I did not see in the theater. House, the original House.
Classic.
Another one that my wife absolutely loves.
Now that one I could see why. I feel like House is a movie that I think anyone would like this movie. Really?
You would think. I don't know. House is definitely, I would say, like a
Not if you're looking for a serious horror.
No.
But like
Definitely not. You know,
I don't know. I feel like it's lighthearted. It's like American Werewolf in London to me. Like
it's got that sort of comedy horror.
Yes.
But although American Werewolf in London is part, you know, it's got some stuff.
It does.
House does not.
No.
House is like a very
it's fun. I like that movie.
Family friendly without being family friendly. I don't know how to describe it, but it is a light horror movie.
Yeah, I feel like that's why I feel like most
it's a good
people
romp.
could like it. Yeah.
Same with part 2. And part 2 even more so than 1.
Yeah.
Part 2 they really added on the comedy of it. But both those movies are great. House is a Sean Cunningham produced flick. The original concept is a Fred Decker story written by Ethan Wiley, who was his good friend and partner at the time. Steve Miner directed, who of course directed Friday the 13th 2 and 3, was a producer on those Friday the 13th films. It was all sort of in the family, you know, and Fred Decker's first screen credit, actually. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
86, huh?
86, and then he directed what we will talk about. We might as well talk about it right now, going from Fred Decker, Night of the Creeps. The first of 2 dynamos.
Wallops.
1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Fred Decker, back-to-back, Night of the Creeps and Monster Squad. Holy shit. And Night of the Creeps I saw on HBO. 100%. It was always on HBO. That is the first time I saw it. Probably not in 86. I probably saw it in 87. But, wow. You know?
I didn't see it until much later.
Yeah. So this is something interesting, and it's interesting that it's 10 years later when Scream came out. Okay, so Scream came out 1996. Everyone thought it was like some new revolutionary horror movie. I do not like Scream. But I remember when that came out. I remember seeing it in the theater. And
did we see it or did...
We saw 2 and 3.
We did
together.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say I wasn't only and you were not there at the first screen then.
No. I was in Wellsville. I remember it. I was in Wellsville.
Yeah.
I was with my girlfriend at the time. It was Emily.
Okay.
Emily Burke. And we went to see it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, really, pretty much. I was like, man,
Why are people laughing?
it just didn't. I almost felt betrayed, just because there's so much great horror, and people are like acting like this is like the first horror movie they'd ever seen, and maybe for some it was, I guess, a different generation for sure. You know,
as people who like horror and have watched horror nonstop throughout the years, and don't believe in horror going away. Like, it didn't go away after 1989, or I don't know when people thought it went away, but it didn't go away.
Especially for horror fans, it did not go away.
Right.
Here was my biggest issue. Everyone was saying Scream was like, oh, it deconstructed the genre and, you know, it poked fun at it. We've never seen that before. Au contraire. We've seen that, and we saw it several times in the 80s. With movies like House, like Night of the Creeps, Jason Lives. We've seen it.
Yeah.
So I took umbrage with that, and I was just like, man, you don't know.
Well, you know what's funny too is, and I guess we could probably talk about this at length in another episode, but like, I didn't like New Nightmare when it first came out, and now I love New Nightmare, but when I watch New Nightmare and I think about Scream, I go, he already did it. Like, he literally did it. And now you guys are talking, like, did you not watch New Nightmare because it was a Freddy movie?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't make a lot of money, New Nightmare.
I know, but
when it came out.
If you had to look at Wes Craven's, filmography, and you hold up Scream to a pedestal, but yet New Nightmare is down below. I think New Nightmare does some things as far as being meta or whatever, the subversive, better. Even though, I am a Scream fan, but
Yes.
that's I don't know, I just thought it was really funny, like, as an older, my adult eyes, I was like, holy shit, like, the dude he did it to himself.
This movie I did see in the theaters with my mom. Howard the Duck.
I know I saw it in the
Listen.
theater. I know I did.
I love this movie. I don't care what anybody says. You can have your opinion. That's great. That's what is wonderful about the world. You got yours, and I got mine, and Howard the Duck still holds up to me. I just think it's a fun, weird, science fiction, goofy romp with, for me, some really great performances, especially from Jeffrey Jones and Tim Robbins. I love them in this movie. It's got Leah Thompson. She's fucking a duck. It's a great movie. Great soundtrack, as far as I'm concerned. It didn't make any money. It bombed. George Lucas produced this movie. It's based on a Marvel comic. It didn't really do anything. But that's okay. And we certainly weren't thinking about that back in the day. We were kids and we were loving it. And now as a almost 44-year-old, Howard the Duck is A-okay with me, Casey.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah, I don't know what you would think, but...
I'm sure I wouldn't like it. That's why I haven't watched it.
It's fun.
I remember as a kid being like, this is not what I had expected.
This is another movie that I did see in the theaters. Remember, folks, this is a list of stuff that we like. This isn't like some, it's 1986 and we're going to talk about every movie,
yeah,
every musical genre, everything like that. No, this is the stuff that we gravitated towards then and what we think now. So, that being said, Labyrinth, I did see in the theater. Again, I was a Muppet head. I love Jim Henson. Love the Muppets. Love his creativity and his genius. And anything that he was touching, I was going to be on board with. So I saw Labyrinth in the theaters with the family. And again, I love it. I think it's great. I think as far as... There were some things that he did in Labyrinth that did propel the technology from Dark Crystal, but I still think Dark Crystal is far more of a feat than Labyrinth. But he took what he did in Labyrinth and sort of ramped it up in in Dark Crystal. But there's something even more genius and special with what he did with Dark Crystal and that team. And he's a fucking genius. He really is. Come on.
Yeah.
And holy shit. And Labyrinth is today. It's a classic. Everybody fucking loves Labyrinth. Come on.
Yeah. Even
you like Labyrinth?
No. I when I was a kid,
remind me of a babe.
We had a babysitter, and she
wanted to send you to the
exactly.
Kingdom.
No, she showed my sister and I Labyrinth. So it was definitely a year later or 2 years later maybe, but yeah, I remember watching it as a babe, and I was going, okay.
You want to dance magically?
Oh, I loved it. Oh yeah, and it still holds up way more than Dark Crystal. So I
love them both. Love them both.
I know you do.
People can't get behind... Dark Crystal scared kids back in the day. It didn't scare me. I was all about it.
Well, you're watching Freddy and Jason movies. Of course it doesn't scare you.
Well, that wasn't happening at that point. My grandmother... I've told the story about Dark Crystal, but my grandmother took me to see Dark Crystal, and she hated it.
I'm sure she did.
Hated it, but I was enamored. I was in awe of what I was seeing. Anyway... Labyrinth is great.
It is great.
This is interesting. And I, So as a 9-year-old, I was pissed at my great aunt, who I lived with. I lived with my great grandparents and my great aunt. And for probably a year, I was angry, stupidly, at my aunt for this. But Little Shop of Horrors was coming out. And
That shirt.
yes, this shirt. And I was, reading about Little Shop of Horrors in magazines and Fangoria and whatever, Starlog, whatever. I was just so enamored. I was like, I saw it in the commercials and everything, and I was like, I have to see this. Like, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
And for some reason, she would not let me go see this movie. And
It's PG, right?
No, it's PG-13.
Is it PG-13 now? Because
I don't know if it was just because, like,
I don't think
they
that
chopped up people and fed them to the plant.
Oh, yeah.
Again, my aunt didn't know some of the shit that I was seeing.
Right.
But she like told my mom, "You ain't taking him to see this." I never actually asked her why she was so against me seeing this in the theater. So
Taller.
I was robbed
On this episode.
of seeing Little Shop of Horrors in the theater. So I didn't get to see it until it hit VHS, but I had it reserved, a video connection. And boy, did I love it. I love this movie. I love it to this day. It is, in fact, my favorite musical ever. I love this film. Once again, the ingenuity, the creativity, the animatronics used to bring Audrey to life is phenomenal. Fascinating. True, it is.
I know.
Think about this, man. 1986, and you watch that movie and you see what they did. Holy shit! Like, that was like leaps and bounds. I mean, Audrey 2 was alive.
I mean, it's like
the intricacies in the lips.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I guess I think, like, we don't make movies like that anymore. So if you think about it, it's like you have Ray Harryhausen doing stop motion animation and doing some animatronic shit, and then Jim Henson and stuff. Like, I guess while I completely agree with you, it's like, what else have we done since then? Because we don't do animatronics anymore, other than like the new Dark Crystal that just came out recently and stuff like that. It's so few and far between that it's like, yeah, you're the pinnacle of what you're doing, but like, really, what else do we have as a basis of comparison at this time?
Well, listen, it was all happening new back then.
It's fucking great.
It was blowing people's minds. And we had never seen shit like that.
Yeah, I love that movie to no end. I really do. It's great.
Great performance. Great.
Yeah, Steve Martin is the best role he's ever played, other than the Jerk.
All right.
And 3 Amigos.
Man, we got a cruise. There's so much to talk about. Holy shit.
Is this all movies, or is this everything?
No, this is everything.
Okay. I was like, whew, okay, we haven't even started movies.
1986 might have to get chopped up. Okay, another movie that I love from 1986, Police Academy 3.
Which one's this one?
This is
Tussaud's Revenge.
Toulon's Revenge?
Toulon's Revenge. Madame Tussaud's Revenge.
Yeah, Madame Tussauds Revenge. Yes, this is it. So, I love the Police Academy movies, 1 through 4. And I've told the story before on the Police Academy episode that you can find on the channel.
Bobby Heckman.
With Tansky and Bobby Heckman. I would go over to the Sarahs, my neighborhood friends, Nick, Sarah, Jen, Sarah, the whole brood. There was a whole brood of Sarahs, really. And their father was really awesome. It was like, where are you going to find all the neighborhood kids? Oh, they're at the Sarah's house. And what was really sweet about them was we were watching all sorts of movies on VHS. they were very similar to me in that they really loved movies. They really did, and
That's cool.
you know, movie nights was a big deal at the Sarahs. So anytime a movie that was hitting VHS, you know, that was like a big deal, you knew that the Sarahs were going to have like a movie night.
And Police Academy 3 was
Police Academy 3 was the
big
first
deal?
time I saw it over there.
Okay.
And then I saw Part 4 in theaters.
Yeah.
But 3 was great. 3 continues the magic of 2. Bobcat goes through 2, 3, and 4, you know.
Oh,
Bobcat.
like from Police Academy to being a police officer?
Yes, yeah.
It's been such a long
He's
time
a rebel.
since I've seen those.
He's a punk in 2.
Yeah.
He's the main, you know, antagonist
Yeah.
in 2, and then he's a cop in 3.
Man. I remember.
But the movie is so funny, so hilarious. Those movies, I mean, again, 1 through 4 are gold to me. I grew up
like,
with those movies.
Trip to Miami or whatever.
Fucking
Part 5 is,
no, man. You know what? I saw 5 in the theater, hated it.
I saw 5 in the theater.
Saw 6 in the theater, hated it. And as far as I was concerned, I was glad that it was done. I rented Mission to Moscow, which was 7.
Yep.
That was a direct-to-video film.
Yep.
And I hated it.
Yeah.
Never watched it again. And in fact, I didn't. And in fact, I really haven't seen 5 or 6. You know, maybe I saw them once when they came out on VHS, because I probably did several marathons back in the day. But now I only do 1 through 4. Those are the true, for me, those are the true Police Academy movies. They're the best, the funniest. You got the Mahoney. And then, you know, Steve left and left us with low-budget Mahoney. It just wasn't happening for me.
Jabroni.
That's right. Truly. Jabroni. George Gaines, my man.
Yeah, those are good movies.
Ooh, now this movie I like. You know, we really got to cruise these movies. I'm sorry for talking so much about them, but this one again, I definitely didn't see in the theaters. And I didn't see this probably until, my teens. And it was a rental, and it's called River's Edge. Totally not something you would think that the Sievage would like.
No. Every time you say it, I'm like, who is this guy?
But I just...
The performances, man.
It's weird enough for me to like it, and that is because of the performances. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean,
it's definitely overacted.
Oh, it is over the top. It is terribly acted, and the subject matter is so gross and so uncomfortable, and just a rough movie, a very bizarre, nihilistic. You know, just a depressing film.
Yeah.
But those performances have me. Keanu Reeves and Crispin Glover in that movie are just... They're on another planet. Keanu just, you know, his general bad acting and, you know, whatever. But Crispin is... He's working on another level in that movie.
Always. He brings it every time.
So, yeah, I don't know. So, River's Edge makes the list for me.
Scummy movie.
It's a scummy movie. Ooh. This one I didn't see in theaters, but was a HBO staple, and I love it to this day. And that is the delightful comedy romp Short Circuit. Mm. Steve Guttenberg, the Goot, is back. Ali Sheedy.
Yep.
And Johnny Five. My goodness. This trio was heartwarming. I love the movie. I recently got the Blu-ray.
2-pack, or is it?
No, I just got the Blu-ray.
Okay.
One. I don't like part 2.
No, I
didn't
know
even
if
back
they
then.
Tag them together.
I think they did for a while.
Yeah.
But no, I just have the the regular Blu-ray of the first. And Katie and I recently watched it once I got the Blu-ray, and I still love it. It still holds up. It brought back so many memories. This played on HBO all the time, and I think I probably watched it every time it played. It's great. Johnny Five is great. Johnny Five is alive, my friend.
I remember those movies very fondly.
There's you can get like kits of Johnny Five, but they're so expensive, like model kits. And then there's a group on Facebook of people around the world who make full-size Johnny Fives. And they look fantastic. They're like,
how much are those, though?
I don't know if they sell them. I think what they do is they take them around to conventions.
Okay.
You can get pictures with them and whatnot. I would love a picture with Johnny Five.
I saw there was a Lego set. It wasn't that. It was like how to turn this Lego set into him. Yeah, it was like it's like a tank or something.
That's cool.
But they do it, and I was like, oh shit, maybe I'll spring for that Lego set to make this.
Yeah, man. You got Fisher Stevens playing playing an Indian.
That's like, oh man. I remember watching it, like semi-cognizant of that sort of thing, and I was like, ooh, who the fuck said okay?
And they did it twice.
I know. Because of course I always thought it was an Indian person as a kid. Who the fuck? There's like one Indian person in my whole town.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait a second, that's the bad guy in Hackers.
Yeah.
What's next?
Ooh. Oh. Classic. Didn't see it in theaters, but I rented it a lot, HBO a lot, probably in '87. But it really stuck with me. So much so that I made a pseudo parody of the film. But it's called Stand By Me. The coming of age tale with Will Wheaton, Corey Feldman, Jerry O'Connell, and a young River Phoenix. And I love it. I love it. And I love that time period.
50s.
When the movie takes place. I love that music. It's the 80s and the 50s are my favorite time period. And this hit the spot for me. Well, I think it takes place in the 60s or maybe the late 50s or early 60s or something like that. But anyway, the movie is wonderful. It's based on a Stephen King novella called The Body. And, I remember that it was one of those movies that near the end, as the movie was getting closer to the end, always made me feel uncomfortable. Because it wasn't fantastical. This was played for realism, and these kids were going to find a dead body.
Yeah.
And the way that the dead body was portrayed, and the eyes being like halfway open, and it just was like it was uncomfortable. I don't know. The movie resonated for me. I love movies where kids are bonding, and because that was me, man. That was kids growing up in the 80s, man. We all just went out and we did our thing, and we were groups, and we adventured, and Stand By Me.
It's a good movie. I lost a bet about that movie. Chris Walk bet me that Stand By Me was based off of Stephen King. And I was like, no way, this is stupid. Why would he ever write something like that? And because I think is it Stephen King or is it Richard Bachman?
It's his alias.
Yeah, so it's Richard Bachman. So I was like,
Stephen King.
I know, but I was like, no, that's not him. No. And then it was the bet to go see X-Files. So I had to pay for Chris's Fight the Future ticket because I lost.
Well, you were fighting the future, man.
I'll never lose again. Richard Bachman.
I'll get you, Richard Bachman, if it's the last thing I do. Okay, this one I love. TerrorVision. This is a Empire Pictures, Charles Band produced Whackfest. Ted Nicolau, who directed this film, who is the arbiter of the wonderful Subspecies series from Full Moon.
Yeah.
You know, they've had a working relationship forever, but this was Empire Pictures. Again, this was definitely a rental. The video box always intrigued me. Rented it and realized that, holy shit, this is a off-the-wall, goofy comedy horror film. And it's great. It's really great. And I think it's great. It's got a great soundtrack, great performances, really bonkers, beautiful, like, visuals, great special effects. It's all there, man. It's all there. TerrorVision.
Because we jumped in time a little bit, I did watch April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
And I started Shopping Mall, and I was like, wait a second. I got like 5 minutes, to the premise, and I was like, okay, I'll come back to this. It was like late. It was like 11 something, and I was
fun,
like already
man.
tired. So I was like, okay, I don't want to like not pay attention. So
Yeah, it's really fun. But what did you think of April Fool's Day?
it was good. Yeah,
Did you like that ending?
I did like that movie. Yeah.
See, people hated it when it came out. People
Okay.
hated it because they felt robbed. They felt like, what? This didn't really happen? It was all a joke?
I mean, like, those kind of things, like, I don't care. Like, if a movie just ends, it just has no explanation necessarily, I'm like, it doesn't bother me. It kills my wife. Absolutely destroys her. We just watched that movie with, like, that Indian girl from Glow and that guy, and, like, these space poofs come. I think it's on Hulu.
Oh, yeah. I saw the trailer.
So the ending...
I have no interest in seeing
Well, it just cuts, and she was just like... So,
Okay.
anyway.
Well, anyway.
Good movie.
This I did not see in the theaters. Definitely. This was a rental. This was one of those, like, on the down low rentals. Like, I didn't want anybody to know that I was getting this.
Put it in the black bag.
Other than my friends. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Wonderful. This is a comedy. Don't let anybody ever tell you it's not. It is. I don't know how you can't know that it's a comedy. Tobe Hooper was like, yeah, I made like a really gritty, terrible exploitation film with the first one, and now I'm going to do a straight-up comedy with this same premise and this family and carving up people. Wonderful, gruesome effects by Tom Savini. The wonderful Caroline Williams gives an outstanding performance in the film. I love Texas Chainsaw 2.
Never seen it. Because I
Really?
never wanted to watch any of those movies.
I wonder what you'd think of 2.
It's in my queue, and I actually passed by it when I was looking at other things, and then I was like, oh, right, I wanted to watch April Fool's Day. So I'll watch it, because you've always talked about it, but because I didn't ever have any interest, I was like, I'm just going to avoid this entire franchise until I watched the remake. That was the first time.
2's funny. 2's ridiculous. It's
I do
so
like
over the
Dennis Hopper. And isn't Bill Moseley, isn't that the one?
It's Chop Top, man.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I'll at least appreciate parts of it.
Yeah,
Maybe
I think
even like it.
I think you'll think some of it's great.
Okay.
And it's got... so I had already been an Oingo Boingo fan.
Oh, yeah.
But, so when this happened and I saw it, I like
You
flipped
played me
out.
this scene.
I
Because
flipped
Oingo Boingo.
out. Like, holy shit, Oingo Boingo, and one of their greatest songs is in this movie. This wretch, it just goes up for me. So, my goodness. This I did see in the theaters. I have talked about before, and it's one of those classic moments where I remember me and my mom in the theater and my mom losing her shit. My mom was a very loud laugher. And not only was she a loud laugher, but she was a knee slapper.
I mean, your mom's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. She still laughs loud.
But I mean, we haven't,
You haven't seen a movie in a while.
yeah, we haven't gone to the cinema together for a while, but
Yeah.
we did a lot back then. And this was the Three Amigos.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I mean, it was
That's a good one.
so good, so funny. John Landis, come on. Chevy Chase, Martin Short, and Steve Martin. This movie is so good. It never gets old for me, and yeah, again, I'll never forget it because my mom was losing her shit, slapping that knee hard, you know. And then it became, and we've talked about it before, and then it became this weird thing at home where I would play it during Christmas Eve parties, and I don't know why. And that happened for a few years back to back. It's just like, well, Christmas Eve, we got to put on 3 Amigos. So bizarre. But yeah, I love the movie.
Yeah.
To this day.
That's funny.
It's fantastic. Great Blu-ray as well. Looks really good. Ooh, this was, this is on my list, and I did see this on VHS, but I probably rented this closer to 89, 90. And it's the original 1986 Trick or Treat.
Okay.
It's a heavy metal horror movie, Halloween movie, with Skippy.
Oh,
Mark Price.
Yeah.
From Family Ties. He's like this nerdy, metalhead kid that everyone picks on. He loves the rag man, who is the. It's just a.
Is it good?
I really love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Horror fans, come on, you know this movie, and you probably love this movie, and it's part of your collection. And still to this day, there is no domestic official release.
Oh.
There's like shitty DVDs of it, and they always put Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne on the cover because they're in it for like 5 seconds.
Oh.
Gene Simmons is in it longer than Ozzy, but they're always on the cover.
Of course, they gotta sell those. These copies.
So I had to get a German Blu-ray, a German official Blu-ray of the film. And it looks good, but I know that if Scream Factory got a hold of it, or Arrow, or somebody like that,
Yeah.
they could really clean that movie up and make it look truly great. And I wish they would. I don't know what the rights issue is, but I love Trick or Treat. And I think you would too.
Is
I really
it a music issue, maybe? If those guys are in it?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Gene's like, no. No, this will never see the light of day.
Okay, this one I definitely saw on HBO all the time. Troll, the original Troll.
Original Troll.
John Carl Buechler, Sonny Bono. I'll never forget the first time I saw it because I was creeped out when Sonny Bono turns into like a pea pod. He just like he morphs because like the troll would go around and stick you with his little like magical pin ring, and then you'd become like a plant.
This is a shitty movie.
I like it. I like it a lot. The main character's name was Harry Potter.
No, really?
Mm-hmm. So J.K. was a fan of.
She must have been, yeah.
Yeah, the Troll film. Listen, Troll is a much better film than Troll 2. Troll 2 became infamous because of how bad it is.
Yeah.
So that it's a bad, entertaining film. But I just think Troll 1 is entertaining. I really do. I don't know.
You like what you like.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Ooh, this one was definitely HBO. And again, this was played all the time. And if it wasn't HBO, then it was definitely played on USA Up All Night. And this was The Wraith, starring Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, I've never seen this movie. I know the
I think you
cover.
dig it.
I know the cover.
I think you would dig it. It's a pretty all right little spooky ghost horror movie. Sherilyn Fenn is in it. You got the wonderful Clint Howard.
Well, I am a Ice Cream Man fan myself.
No, you're not.
I do like ice cream.
Really? If you like ice cream, man,
it's
you're gonna
horrible.
love the Wraith.
Well,
I mean, the Wraith is great.
I mean, I can say like 95% of the people in the world don't want to watch the Ice Cream Man.
Definitely not.
But yeah.
Anyway, the Wraith is really good.
Okay,
Great
maybe
soundtrack.
that I'd like.
You know, again, Sherilyn Fenn. Yeah, I don't want to give it away, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I'll look for it on
you Wraith fans know what I'm talking about.
I like a good
And that
Wraith.
doesn't have an official Blu-ray release, which is a travesty.
I only got a VHS.
I mean, that should get like a... no, it had a DVD release. That should be under the Vestron Collector's Series, for sure. It's shocking that it isn't. But it is. Okay, and the last movie on my list for 1986 that I still love is Class of Nukem High.
Nukem High.
The Trauma
I was
classic.
waiting for this one the whole time. I said it earlier.
Yeah, so there we go, guys. Class of Nukem High. It's you know, it's right up there as my favorite Trauma movie. You know, it's
Behind Toxic Avenger.
I think I enjoy Nukem High more than Toxie, but it's real close. It's real close. Yeah, I don't know. There's just something about Class of Nukem High. I know.
Hey, it's fine. I like them both. I don't have any ill will.
It's funny. I recently showed Nukem High during one of our movie marathons.
Yeah.
And you know, they didn't like it. You know, people didn't like it. But through their eyes, I think I saw why they didn't like it. You know what I mean? So I was watching it on that 120-inch screen.
Yeah.
One, even if it's on Blu-ray, it looks
like
deplorable.
shit, sure.
It just looks bad.
Yeah.
But I think the pacing, the editing, the weirdness of those early Trauma movies, and how they play out, it didn't sit well with some of the people in our marathons.
Yeah.
And I get it. I totally get it.
I don't think Trauma is for anybody who doesn't already know Trauma. I really don't.
Yeah, definitely.
Throughout the years, nobody likes Trauma.
There's no way my wife would ever like a Trauma movie. Absolutely, 100% no way. No. You got to be a real special filth monger to enjoy a Trauma movie.
Yeah, I think you have to already have known what Trauma is about to get into it.
So, but yeah, that was
as a beefy list.
That's the movies. So the movies. That was the movies. My favorite films from 1986, and I guess Casey's had some in there as well.
I did.
But yeah, so let us know your favorite films from 1986. Was some of mine on your list as well? What do you like? Let us know.
Are you a Wraith fan? Comment below.
That's right. So that was part 1 of our journey through 1986. And, you know, if you like it, continue, because there'll be a part 2. And hit subscribe and all that magic stuff. Mm-hmm. So we'll see you on another episode of A Crept from the 80s. Bye!